Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Or if you're new here, welcome to my chaotic corner of the internet. I don't know about you, but I live for secondhand drama. Like my own life is maybe a 2 out of 10 on the drama scale. Pretty much just me deciding what to have for dinner. So I got to get my fix from the internet, right? And Reddit never disappoints. So grab a snack, get cozy, and prepare for a roller coaster of relationships, petty revenges, family showdowns, awkward mishaps, and plot twists you will not see coming. Alright, without further ado, let's dive into the first story of the day. And trust me, this one will make you think twice about leaving your lunch unattended. So picture this. You're at work, it's lunchtime, and you've been daydreaming about that tasty lunch you packed all morning. You open the office fridge and surprise, your lunch is gone, vanished, poof. All that's left is an empty Tupperware that used to contain your delicious leftovers. This has been my reality for weeks now. I have this co-worker, let's call him Dave, who apparently thinks the entire fridge is his personal buffet. And it's not just my lunch, Dave's basically the office fridge bandit, snatching up other people's food left and right. Sandwiches, salads, that piece of birthday cake I was saving. Nothing is safe from his greedy little hands. Now, I'm not usually a confrontational person. Like conflict? No thank you. My go-to move when someone steals my food is usually to leave a passive-aggressive sticky note like, "Hope you enjoyed my lunch as much as I was going to." Real effective, I know. Spoiler, it did nothing. Dave just crumpled up my notes and probably used them as a napkin while devouring my meatball sub. The audacity. After about the 5th time this happened, I reached a level of petty I never knew I had in me. I was like, "Alright Dave, you want my lunch? You can have it with a special surprise." Evil laughter. I decided to whip up a batch of my famous homemade chili for lunch. Except this time, I made it extra, extra special. How special, you ask? Well, I added a generous helping of this hot sauce I have. And not just any hot sauce. Oh no. This sauce is made from Carolina Reaper peppers. Basically molten lava in a bottle. I doused my chili in it until it was a sinister shade of danger. I put the chili in a nice container, even labeled it Dave's lunch, because I was feeling extra cheeky. I placed it right in the fridge at my usual spot and waited. Sure enough, around 12:30, guess who slithers into the kitchen? Dave, acting all casual. I peek over my cubicle just in time to see him open the fridge. He spots the chili. My very well labeled chili that literally has his name on it. His eyes light up like he just found buried treasure. I'm practically vibrating with anticipation, and maybe a little guilt, but mostly anticipation. Dave takes the container, grabs a spoon, and pops it into the microwave. I can see him sniffing it and fanning his nose a little when he takes it out. The pepper fumes are already hitting him. But does that stop Dave? Oh no, our boy Dave is committed to this free lunch. He sits down at the break room table, and I'm watching from my desk, which luckily has a clear view. He takes a big spoonful of chili and shoves it in his mouth. I would pay good money to have this moment on video, because the way his face exploded in pain was absolutely priceless. 1 second, he's smug free lunch Dave. The next, he's a cartoon character with steam coming out of his ears. He's turning red. He's sweating. The dude practically levitates from his chair and sprints to the sink, gulping water straight from the tap. I mean, water's not really going to help, but I wasn't about to run in with a life-saving glass of milk and ruin my fun. By now, the entire office is like, "What's going on with Dave?" And I'm over here behind my monitor, silently laughing so hard I might pull a muscle. A coworker runs up to Dave asking if he's okay. Dave can barely speak. He's panting and going, "Water! Need water!" Then he starts ranting. "Something's wrong with that chili. It's like it's full of acid or something. I think I'm dying." "Bit dramatic, Dave. Calm down. Here's the best part. My manager comes out, super concerned, asking, 'Dave, what happened?' Dave, still gasping and slobbering wails, 'Someone poisoned me.' Yes, he actually used the word poisoned. My manager's like, 'What? Poisoned? What did you eat?' And Dave, the genius, admits in front of everyone, I ate someone else's chili from the fridge. Dead." Silence. Then you hear a couple of people snort laugh. Someone in the back goes, "Dude, why would you eat someone else's lunch?" The manager slowly turns to me, because he knows I brought chili. I bring it like once a week, and it's kind of famous in the office. He asks, "Was it your chili?" I just shrug. "Yep, I brought chili today for myself." Emphasis on myself. Dave is now realizing he has completely outed himself as the lunch thief. He looks at me, eyes still watering from the inferno in his mouth, and croaks, "Why would you do that to your chili?" I just smile sweetly and go, "Do what? Enjoy my lunch how I like it?" My manager actually had to turn away for a second. I swear he was trying not to laugh. Long story short, Dave learned a very spicy lesson. The manager basically told him, "Look, people's lunches are their personal property. If you steal someone's food, whatever happens is your own fault." Dave, still gulping down water and milk at this point, had no comeback. He slunk off, probably to go stick his tongue under the tap in the bathroom or something. As for me, I became a bit of an office hero. People were high-fiving me later in the day. The lady whose quinoa salad got swiped last week was like, "Girl, you're my hero." And Dave, let's just say he now brings his own lunch and stays far away from anything with my name on it. Maybe his taste buds will recover someday, maybe not. But one thing's for sure, he won't be mooching anyone's lunch again anytime soon. So yeah, that was some spicy justice served hot. Dave won't be stealing anyone's lunch anytime soon. Alright, switching gears. Our next story is a relationship saga. This one has all the classic signs of drama: secretive partner, late night mysteries, a very paranoid boyfriend, and a twist that honestly belongs in a romantic comedy. Let's get into it. I'll admit it, I became that guy. The jealous, paranoid boyfriend I always swore I'd never be. But y'all, I had what I thought were good reasons. My girlfriend of 2 years, let's call her Jenna, started acting strange out of nowhere. Suddenly she's guarding her phone like it holds nuclear launch codes. She's working late a couple nights a week, even though her job is totally 9 to 5, and she's just been weird about her plans. She'll be texting and giggling to herself. And when I ask what's up, she's all, "Oh, nothing. Just memes." Memes my butt. My spidey sense was tingling big time. At first I tried to play it cool. I'm thinking, people can have private stuff. Maybe she's planning a surprise for me or something. But then I find a restaurant receipt in her car for a dinner for 2, on a night she told me she was just having coffee with a girlfriend. And she had been dressing up all nice for these supposed coffee dates. You don't normally put on perfume in your cutest top just to grab lattes with a coworker, you know? At this point my brain is doing Olympic backflips to land at the worst possible conclusion: she's seeing someone else. I even had a particular suspect in mind. This dude from her office, Brian, who's always liking her Instagram posts. Curse you, Brian, with your perfectly groomed beard. I know I should have just talked to her and asked what's going on, but nah, your boy decided he was going to go full undercover spy instead. So one night, Jenna says she's got to run out to do some errands. It's 8 p.m. Errands? Really? She leaves, and I give it a few minutes, then hop in my car to follow her. Yes, I know, this is unhinged behavior. In my defense, I was basically a walking anxiety attack at this point. Anyway, I tail her from a very non-creepy distance. Okay, it was kind of creepy. My heart's pounding, my hands are sweaty. I'm essentially one step away from a nervous breakdown. She drives clear across town and pulls into the parking lot of this Italian restaurant. Italian restaurant at 8:30 p.m? My stomach drops. This screams date night. I park a bit away and watch. Sure enough, she gets out of her car, and a moment later a guy approaches her. I can't see super well, but he's tall, kinda shaggy hair, definitely not anyone I recognize. They hug. At that moment, I'm pretty sure I felt my soul leave my body. I'm sitting there gripping my steering wheel, thinking, this is it. She's cheating. 2 years together and it's all over. Without really thinking it through, because clearly I'm a master of great decisions. I jump out of my car and march across the parking lot toward them. I must have looked insane. Jenna sees me coming and her jaw drops. The guy turns and looks confused. Before they can say anything, I basically yell, "Seriously, Jenna? Who the hell is this?" Real smooth, I know. Jenna jumps, totally startled, and goes, "What are you doing here? Are you following me?" She's not defensive like someone who got caught cheating. She looks genuinely baffled and kinda angry. The guy is just standing there like, what's happening? So I, in all my eloquence, say, "Who am I? Who are you, dude? You out here with my girlfriend?" I probably looked like a crazy person accusing a random guy in a parking lot. There's this incredibly awkward pause. I'm breathing like an angry bull, and some people nearby are definitely rubbernecking at our little drama. Jenna just face palms and goes, "Are you serious right now?" This is my brother Kyle. I just stand there, all the rage draining out of me in an instant. Brother? For context, I'd heard about her brother Kyle plenty of times, but he lives in another state and I'd never met him. Wasn't expecting him to show up out of the blue. I just stare, feeling every ounce of color drain from my face. I manage a very eloquent, "Huh?" Jenna's now somewhere between furious and mortified. You thought I was cheating with my own brother? What is wrong with you? The guy Kyle, apparently, is just staring at me like I'm some kind of alien. At this point, I am dying inside. I start babbling. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were acting so weird, and I saw you hug this guy and I just lost it. I probably looked like I was about to either cry or melt into the pavement. Jenna is beyond pissed. She says we'll talk about this later, go home now. I tried to sputter out another apology, but she wasn't having it. She told me again to go home. Then she and Kyle just walked into the restaurant without me, leaving me standing there like a complete idiot. That drive home, quietest 20 minutes of my life. My hands were shaking on the wheel. I knew I had massively screwed up. Later that night, once she cooled off enough to talk, Jenna laid it out. She had been acting secretive because, get this, she was planning a huge surprise party for my birthday. She wanted it to be a secret, so she'd been coordinating with my friends and family. And yes, her brother, who flew in to help. The restaurant was where she was meeting a couple of my friends and Kyle to finalize the party details and check out a catering menu. In other words, all the sneaking around was to do something nice for me, and I exploded it with my paranoia. I felt like the biggest jerk on the planet. I apologized about 1,000,000 times. I told her I was an insecure idiot, that I should have just talked to her instead of going full-on James Bond meets Jerry Springer. She was livid, and I don't blame her. It took a couple of days, and many, many bouquets of apology flowers before Jenna finally forgave me. The surprise party was obviously cancelled. I mean, I wasn't exactly in a celebrating mood after blowing it up. Eventually we made up. I took Jenna and her brother out for a fancy dinner on me as a peace offering, and we were able to laugh about it later. Okay, much later. But let me tell you, I will never live this down. She loves to tease me now by randomly saying, "Hey, I'm heading out." Not meaning my brother or anything, just to watch me cringe. So yeah, I basically accused my girlfriend of cheating on me with her own brother. Not my finest hour. The moral of the story, just talk to your partner before you decide to go full Mission Impossible on them. You might save yourself from, imploding your entire surprise party and looking like an absolute fool. Whew, that relationship roller coaster was intense, right? At least it ended with a somewhat happy resolution and a hard-earned lesson in communication. Now moving on, for our next tale of chaos, we're diving into the family front. We've got a sneaky mom, a fed-up teenager, and a revenge plot straight out of a teen movie. Trust me, this one will make every snooping parent think twice. Growing up, my mum has always been a bit overprotective. And by overprotective, I mean she's basically a secret agent when it comes to snooping on my life. I'm 16, and like a lot of people, I keep a journal. Okay, fine, a diary, whatever. It's where I vent about school drama, crushes, how my math teacher totally has it out for me, normal teenager stuff. I hide it in what I thought was a pretty clever spot in my room. Well, turns out, not clever enough. Lately, I started getting this weird feeling that my mom was reading my diary. Little hints gave her away. Like I'd write about how I felt overwhelmed with my extracurriculars, and the next day she'd randomly be like, "Honey, maybe you should drop one of your clubs if you're feeling stressed." Super supportive sounding, except I never told her I was stressed about that. Or I'd scribble some not so nice things about a girl at school who was annoying me, and Mum would conveniently mention, "Maybe you and Jessie should try to get along. Have you tried being nicer?" Sus, right? So I decided to set a trap. I wrote a completely fake diary entry, and I made it as over the top as possible. I wanted to give my dear snooping mother a heart attack. Just a light-hearted prank from her loving daughter. In this entry, I concocted a story that I had met an older guy, like 21 years old, who promised to help me become a TikTok star in Los Angeles. I wrote that I was madly in love with this imaginary dude, and that he said I should drop out of school and move to LA with him next week to join an influencer house. I even wrote that I'd already bought a one-way plane ticket and I'd be gone before my parents could stop me. The whole thing was absolutely absurd. Any sane person reading it would think I'd lost my mind. But I knew my mom would absolutely flip. I put my diary back in its hiding spot under my mattress, classic, and waited. Honestly, I didn't have to wait long. The very next evening, I get called downstairs by my dad, who looks super concerned. In the living room, Mom is clutching my diary and crying. Like her face is red and tear-streaked full-on mom meltdown mode. For a split second, I did feel kinda bad, thinking maybe I went too far. My mom, voice all shaky, goes, "Sweetie, we need to talk. We read something concerning in your diary." So she roped Dad into this now. My dad looks confused and awkward. Clearly she'd just dropped this bomb on him. Mom continues, "Is it true you're planning to run away to California with some man you met online?" She can barely get the words out without her voice cracking. Now, despite my flicker of guilt, I'll admit it was satisfying to see her caught red-handed. I put on an Oscar-worthy shocked face. "What? Why were you reading my diary?" Mom starts in with the excuses. "I was just worried about you. I only read it because I care," etc. I cut her off and drop the act. Flat out, I say, "Mom, none of that is true. I made it up because I knew you were reading my diary." Dad's jaw drops, and we have about 10 seconds of painfully awkward silence. Mom's face goes from shock to furious. She sputters. "You did this to prank me?" I was terrified. I just crossed my arms. "You scared yourself by snooping, Mom. Maybe don't read my diary." Dad gives Mom a look like, "Seriously? You've been reading her diary?" Bonus points for me that he was annoyed at her too. Mom realized she was busted. She mumbled an apology and of course added, "But you shouldn't scare me like that." We went back and forth, her saying it was because she was worried, me saying I wouldn't have done it if she respected my privacy. In the end, Mom did apologize for snooping, while also scolding me for nearly giving her a heart attack. I gave a half apology for scaring her. The best part? She hasn't snooped since, or if she has, she's too scared to admit it. Now I can write in my diary, knowing that if she ever peeks again, she might find an even crazier story waiting. Moral of the story: sometimes you have to give your parents a taste of their own medicine. It worked. My diary is my business again, and Mom definitely learned her lesson. This next tale is basically my worst nightmare come to life. Sending a text to the wrong person. And not just any person, but the exact person you're trash talking. Kill me now, right? So I 27M, have this boss, we'll call him Mr. Thompson. He's the kind of boss who sends urgent emails at 11 p.m. and has never heard of work-life balance. A real treat, I tell ya. One Friday afternoon, after a long week, Mr. Thompson dumps a last-minute project on me with an impossible deadline. I'm talking, "Oh, by the way, can you redo this entire report by tomorrow? Thanks." And then he pieces out for the weekend. I was fuming, like steam out of my ears cartoon mad. I needed to vent immediately. I grab my phone and fire off a text to my work buddy, Dan, who's also had his fair share of Thompson-induced trauma. My text went something like, "Dude, you won't believe this. Thompson just dumped that report on me and bailed. He's such a clueless, micromanaging jerk. I swear he thinks we have no lives." Along with maybe a few spicier words that I'm not proud of. But hey, I was raging. I hit send, feeling that instant relief you get from complaining to someone who understands. But then, about 10 seconds later, I notice something. The text isn't in my chat with Dan. It's in another thread, a thread higher up on my messages. My heart stops. I open it and just about faint. I had sent that rant directly to Mr. Thompson. Apparently, he had texted me earlier about a meeting, so his conversation was near the top, and in my anger I tapped the wrong name. I cannot believe what I'm seeing. I'm pretty sure my soul left my body for a solid minute. I instantly went into full panic meltdown, cycling through denial, anger, bargaining, depression and acceptance in a matter of seconds. Denial, no, this isn't happening. It was. Anger, why phone, why? Bargaining, maybe I can grab his phone and delete it somehow, or claim autocorrect sabotage. Depression, I'm so fired. My career is over. I'm going to have to live in a box. Acceptance, alright, I'm toast. It's been a good run. While I was still busy panicking and contemplating whether to fake my own death, my phone buzzes. "Mr. Thompson, I think you meant to send that to someone else. That's it. Ouch." Then a minute later, another text. "We'll discuss this on Monday." And just like that, I get to spend the entire weekend imagining my impending doom. All weekend I was a nervous wreck, barely sleeping, convinced I was utterly doomed come Monday. Monday comes. I walk into the office feeling like a man on death row. Sure enough, 9 a.m. I get an email. Meeting at 9:30, Mr. Thompson's office. This is it. Goodbye, paycheck. I walk into his office ready to faint. I immediately start apologizing, but he just holds up a hand. To my shock, he says, "I'm not going to fire you. I know I can be demanding, and I probably deserved some of that, but we need to set some boundaries." Then he basically says he'll ease up on last-minute assignments, and I should speak up if I'm overwhelmed instead of, calling him a jerk. Honestly, it was surprisingly reasonable. At the end, he even joked, "Next time, double-check who you're texting about me." No worries there, Chief. I will triple check text until the end of time. Walking out of that office, I let out the biggest sigh of relief of my life. I wasn't fired. It felt like I'd cheated death. My coworkers said I looked like I'd seen a ghost, which, emotionally, was accurate. So yeah, I survived, and weirdly our working relationship even improved a bit. But I will never again send a text while angry, without quadruple checking the recipient first. Let my near-death office experience be a lesson. Always double check those texts, especially if you're about to call your boss a jerk. Alright, last story of the day. And for this one, we're heading to the wonderful world of group projects. You know, where nightmares are made and petty revenge is practically an elective. Group projects, we all hate them. There's always that one slacker. And if you can't think of who that is in your group, well, it's probably you. In my case, I ended up with that guy, the freeloader to end all freeloaders. This was last semester in a college marketing class. We had a semester-long group project, team of 4 people. The slacker in question? Let's call him Brad. From day one, Brad did nothing. Actually, he did do one thing. He enthusiastically volunteered to be the one to submit the final project at the end of the semester. We thought, oh wow, he wants to contribute. Great. Spoiler, that was a trap. Throughout the semester, my 2 other teammates and I would schedule meetings. Brad either bailed last minute with the sketchiest excuses every time. One week it was a family emergency, the next his laptop died. If he showed up at meetings at all, he'd just sit there on his phone. We even gave him small tasks. Hey, can you research this part? And shocker, he never did them. Always an excuse or another. You get the picture. Fast forward to a week before the project is due. The 3 of us have basically done the entire project without Brad. We've written the report, made the slides, everything. We tried contacting Brad yet again to maybe do literally anything. He finally replies in our group chat, super casual. Oh, sorry guys, been busy. I can put my name on it and submit it though. No worries. No worries. This guy. At that point, the 3 of us transcended anger into a sort of Zen fury. We decided, you know what? Let him submit it. But we were going to make a couple tweaks first. Up till now, we hadn't involved the professor. We were hoping to handle it ourselves. But now we filled our professor in on Brad's contributions, or lack thereof. Our professor basically said, submit without his name. I'll handle the fallout. Glorious. So we finalized the project. Title page has our 3 names, and Brad's name is nowhere in sight. We make sure the content is solid. Then, sticking to the plan, we politely message Brad, hey, we got it all done. Since you offered, can you submit the final paper by the deadline? He of course agrees, probably feeling like he's done his grand part by clicking the upload button. Grades come out the next week. Our project got an A, and Brad, he got a big fat 0. Can't get credit if your name's not on the work, buddy. The meltdown that ensued was chef's kiss. Brad storms over to us after class, red in the face, stammering. There must be a mistake. I submitted it. Why isn't my name on there? We just shrugged and said, oops, must have forgotten to add you. You didn't exactly help, so he blew up, yelling that we sabotaged him and he'd be tattling to the professor. And guess what? She was totally on our side. Rumor has it, her email back to him pointed out that clicking submit was literally his only contribution, and even that was too much for him to handle. Brad ended up begging for extra credit to salvage his grade. The professor made him do a massive solo paper to barely pass. Safe to say, he learned his lesson. I even got paired with him in another class later, and lo and behold, he actually pulled his weight that time. Amazing what a taste of your own medicine can do, right? So that's the story of how we served up some sweet academic justice. Group projects are still the worst, but at least we proved that sometimes karma comes with a due date, and it's an automatic 0 if your name's not on it. And there you have it, folks. A whirlwind tour of drama, revenge, awkwardness, and life lessons, courtesy of the internet. I hope you had a laugh or two. I know I did. Thanks so much for hanging out with me and listening to these stories. If you enjoyed it, you know the drill. We can definitely do this again sometime. Until next time, stay safe, stay kind, or at least, be careful with those spicy lunches and accidental texts. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.